morning, traders. I'm Emily Bonney, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Monday, June 10th. We prepare for the trading week ahead this morning and the latest from the Fed after stocks finished in the red on Friday. The Dow gave up 87 points, or nearly 0.25%. The S&P 500 lost 5 points, or 0.11%. The Nasdaq shed 39 points, or about 0.25%. Bill, let's get into Monday with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes. Good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. The S&Ps are, flat to lower. We're down 0.04%. We were down 0.1% earlier. Really what's going on is there's a lot of activity going on in Europe right now because of those European election results. Right-wing parties are said to have, got a lot of wins, and that's causing some concern for Europe because when you have two parties fighting, what we see here in the U.S., you get a lot of political discord, and that creates issues. But there's other things going on, that at least here in the U.S. that we have to focus on. Like the pending Fed announcement. That's a big move for us. Today we got Apple Worldwide Developers Conference starting. It's all about the AI, and I gotta tell you, Apple's been performing great lately. But this could be one of those events where you sell into the news. Because they're going to have to really deliver and meet high expectations of what they're doing with AI for that stock to continue to rally. NVDA, ticker NVDA, they're starting to trade today on a split adjusted basis. This morning the stock's down a little bit, a fraction, about 0.8%. What else do we have? Moderna released positive phase 3 data on its COVID flu vaccine this morning. I see that CrowdStrike, GoDaddy, and KKR all going to be added to the S&P 500 on June 24th. And you want to talk about earnings, this is a good week for earnings. I mean, it's light, but there's some good companies. We've got CASY, ORCL, Dave & Buster's, Broadcom, ticker RH, which is company RH, and Adobe all set to release. So, we got a lot going on in that front. In terms of the markets, let's take a look at Europe. I mean, we're showing the DAX is down about 0.5%, down 94 points. So we're showing the FTSE is down 23 points, or 0.29%. The CAC, of course, is down 124 points, or 1.55%. It was down more than 2% earlier. Germany, hey, we're seeing weakness in the banking sector. London, they got key inflation data coming out tomorrow. So I'm not surprised that the market's wavering a little bit towards the negative with you when you put on the election results. And and then you have France, where the French President Macron announced that the dissolution of France's National Assembly, and he's calling for snap elections on June 30th and July 7th. So that's creating nervousness that's probably going to be with us for a while. Then we're looking last night in Asia. Asia was kind of quiet. I mean, the Nikkei did jump. In Japan, it jumped 0.92%, or 354 points. They had government data that showed Japan's economy contracted less than initially reported in the January through March period due to upgrades in capital expenditures. Hong Kong and China, they were closed for that Dragon Boat Festival, which is a holiday. They reopened Tuesday morning. Then we're keeping an eye on oil prices. Oil prices are, ticking higher. Remember, oil prices ticked higher on Friday. And we had a lot of action going on in oil prices, because Saudi Arabia's oil minister came out and said that they could pull back those, their intended production, increases at any time. So that was kind of a concern for oil prices. And then you had, the U.S. Jennifer Grisham, the energy secretary, saying that they're going to start buying more into the oil for the SPR. But at the end of the day, oil closed lower. And you look at it today, oil's trading higher. You got the WTI up 0.7% to $76.06, and then you got Brent at $80.19, up 0.72%. I just want to point out, tomorrow we get the OPEC report. That OPEC monthly report is going to be released tomorrow morning. But that's what I have for you in terms of morning market update, Emily.
Bill, plenty to be sifting through there on this Monday morning. And in there, you did mention earnings, even though it's not a peak period for earnings, still a number of interesting companies to be following. So why don't we start there, Bill? What is going on in terms of earnings action?
Well, a fuel cell ticker FCEL, Frank Charlie, Edward Larry, they did report they beat by a penny on a little higher revenue. And that's really the only one that I see out there this morning. And stocks trades 87 cents. I mean, it's up a penny. Yeah, okay. But this afternoon you got the 3D Systems ticker DDD, David. They're going to be releasing their EPSs for a 7 cents loss. Expected move is 16.83% in YEXT, YEXT, Yellow, Edward, X-Ray Times also releasing this afternoon. Their EPS is 6 cents. Expected move is 13.43%. Academy Sports releasing tomorrow morning. Ticker ASO, Apple Sam Oscar, EPS $1.24. Estimated move is 9.36% when they release. That's all I really have for you on earnings this morning, Emily.
And Bill, the other area where we're sort of easing into the week here is economic events. It's a Fed week. We're waiting on the latest monetary policy, as we both mentioned in the opening. So certainly we're going to be looking at that throughout the week. But give us a look at what we should be starting with today on Monday in terms of economic events.
And no significant reports are due out. I mean, the big day is Wednesday. Wednesday's the big day because we get the CPI data coming out and a Fed announcement. You look at the CPI data, the core, which is really the key. That's expected to increase to 3.5% from a year ago, down slightly from the 3.6% data that we saw in April. So I guess that would be positive. I think everybody's going to be, paying attention to the Fed announcement though Wednesday afternoon, and that dot plot is going to be showing a lot of Fed officials pulling back their expectations of Fed rate cuts for this year. That'll be a negative implication, but realistically, let's be cognizant the fact that that dot plot is historically inaccurate. Remember, December they were talking about 4 or 5 rate cuts, and now we're 6 months into it and we're not seeing anything near that. So it will still be an important market moving report, but it's highly inaccurate as the Fed needs to wait on data. But that's what I have for you in terms of economic releases this morning.
And, we'll be watching that right here on NewsWare's Trade Talk, watching our alerts to get that information as it comes out, the latest from the Fed, the latest CPI data. The other thing that we're able to follow using NewsWare, all different other types of news, data, and information coming out of different sectors and segments, looking at things like merger news, shareholders meetings, buyback news. Bill, you do something where you group stocks together, like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks, to really be able to get a good feel for the trading day ahead. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
I'm getting right into it this morning. I'm looking at, the Apple Worldwide Developers Conference is really a big event. CEO Tim Cook is going to be speaking this afternoon, and so that's really the highlight of it. There's a lot of talk of things that they're going to be offering. Like new AI, they call it the new AI era for Apple. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it really is. They start putting AI functionality on smartphones, which don't take up a lot of space. So, that would be positive for, iPhone sales, because that would really be the first major change in the iPhone in years. Rather, because remember, every time they come out with a new product, a new Apple iPhone, it's always, you get a new camera, a better camera. Comes to a point where that's not enough anymore. Netflix, they're introducing an updated layout design for their TV app, I hear. Elon Musk's, listen, his pay deal that he's asking for, it's being opposed by Norway's wealth fund. That's a $1.6 trillion wealth fund, and I'm sure there's others going to be coming out though against it as well, because what he's asking for is a lot of money to be CEO, and that's tough to kind of for shareholders to swallow. Let's talk Dow Jones 30 stocks. Microsoft, they unveiled an all-digital Xbox console at their Xbox game showcase. Walmart, ticker WMT, a Walmart executive said over the weekend that Flipkart and PhonePe IPOs could take years before they actually happen, but those are in the pipeline. Let's talk merger news. Let's start off with Southwest Airlines, because the Elliott investors, they took a large stake in Southwest Airlines, ticker LUV, Larry Uncle Victor. Cognizant, ticker CTSH, Charlie Tom, Sam Henry, they're going to be acquiring Belcan for approximately $1.3 billion. Noble Energy, ticker NE, Nancy Edward, they're going to be acquiring Diamond Offshore Drilling, ticker DO, David Oscar, for $5.65 a share, plus 0.2316 shares of Noble Corp. So, that seems like a good deal. NASDAQ's holding their annual shareholders meeting tomorrow. Ultra Beauty looks like they're doing theirs tomorrow. Let's talk buybacks. Nice Systems, ticker NICE. Nancy India, Charlie Edward, they accelerated their share repurchasing program, and they announced a new 500 million share buyback plan. That's good news for NICE. NICE is up big this morning. That's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us to start this week?
Going with Pfizer, ticker PFE, Paul Frank Edward. Listen, there's a big conference going on today. The Goldman Sachs healthcare conference is happening today, and Pfizer's CEO and chairman is going to be speaking today around 11:30. And they also have a tie-in with Moderna, because Moderna just announced that positive news with respect to their COVID/flu, vaccine, and that stock's trading higher this morning. I'm looking at the call volume on Friday for Pfizer, 58,447 calls traded against 33,751 puts. That's positive. Open interest is essentially even, 1,464,846 versus 1,484,085. It's slightly higher on the put side, but it's essentially flat. Major brokers still like it. They feel it's undervalued. They feel that their pipeline is still good. And with the CEO speaking today, he's going to say some positive things. It's going to be a tie-in with Moderna a little bit. So, in terms of an entry price, I want to get in 28.50 if possible. I think it could happen. Market will open up a little weaker, so I'll say around 28.50. But I do think we're going to see some gains in Pfizer today, ticker PFE, Paul Frank Edward. And that's my pick of the day, Emily.
Pfizer is today looking for that entry price and also hoping for some, positive catalysts to come out of that Goldman conference. It's a strategy that you employed on Friday as well. And in just a few moments, we are going to check in on Friday's pick of the day to see how that went. So stick with us. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
Academy Sports, ASO, they announced a new exclusive partnership with DoorDash. AMD was cut by Morgan Stanley as bank prefers NVIDIA and Broadcom. Abbott Labs, ticker ABT, Apple Boy Tom, they received FDA approval on 2 new systems this morning. RTX, Raytheon, Richard Tom X-Ray, they win a Navy contract worth about $677 million. This Outdoors, ticker VSTO, Victor Sam Tom Oscar, they reject indication of interest from MNC Capital. They also received a $2.01 billion alternative offer from the Kinetic Group. The ticker PERI, Paul Edward Richard India Parian Network, notified by Microsoft Big of its decision to exclude some publishers. Teladoc named Chuck DeVita as its CEO, TDOC. Let's see. Google on Friday asked the judge to deny requests from plaintiffs' lawyers for $217 million in fees in the consumer privacy lawsuit. That one sought billions of dollars in damages, but was later settled for no payment from the tech giant. Merck, ticker MRK, they came out and said that they see greater value in teaming up with AI companies rather than doing M&A activity. That's all I'm saying this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into trading, start at another week, we will do that check-in on Friday's pick of the day, which was Amgen. As I mentioned, you mentioned on Friday, they are a part of that Goldman conference happening today. And, the key really here was the entry price. You called an entry price of $304.50. Bill, on Friday, how did your call work out?
Well, listen, it worked out very well. It was all about that entry points because the stock opened up at 306.72. Now, our entry point of 304.50 was great because guess what? The stock fell down to 304 47, 3 cents lower. So yeah, that was a really good entry point. And from there, the stock just rallied and it ran up to 307.95, which is over the 1% for the day. Moved a little lower after that, but was the 1% there? You used that opening price I gave you as an entry price, and boy, you really did good. So yeah, you made that 1% was definitely there on Friday. So that was good. And we live to trade another day, Emily.
Taking that 1% and walking away a win there, Bill. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Pfizer pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning this week at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Bonney, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.